Basic questions, what are you looking for?
How to work it, how to run it, how to clear jams.
Okay, so when you have a jam, the display panel will give you a list of items to go through step by step to help locate the jam. And it's best you follow the procedure, even if you find it right away. Sometimes you have to go through the rest of them. It's like it'll say open the conveying door, which is kind of hard to do because you'll almost have to move the copier a little bit based on the space or slide. Well,
This one's leaving anyway.
okay,
We'll
so
get
then
it.
you'll have room. And then once you can do that, there'll be labels, little blue labels, like over here it says A1. It's for the fuser. If there's a jam and it tells you remove paper from A1, that's what you're going to look for. But be careful around the fuser. That yellow tag means hot in a bunch of different languages.
Okay.
That's how the toner gets applied to the paper, and it's really hot. Don't jam anything back in there trying to pull out paper. You know, if you get a real bad jam, just give us a call. All right, so and make sure it's closed all the way, because if it's like that, it does not like that. Okay, toner. I just put my hand underneath it because toner can come out of it. When you take it out of a box, there's instructions on the box. Tap, tap, shake. It's a little bit of exercise. Push it back in place. Make sure that's locked. If it's not locked, it won't close, won't recognize it. Okay. If you get a message down at the bottom that says waste toner, this is where the toner that does not get applied to paper gets scraped off the drums and thrown in here as waste. Once that's full, there's a box over there on the other side. It has another one of them in it with a bag. You can close this up, put it in the bag, trash it, put in a new one.
Now, so that stays open, this little cap?
Yes, yeah, that's how the toner gets dumped into it.
Okay.
When you dispose of it, you can close it. But
I also remember before that gave us errors a lot. Why would it give us errors a lot?
Well, the one that was in here previously, I don't know if it was being dumped out or replaced, because you can dump them out up to a few times, but when this starts getting full in here, the sensors read it as if it's full, even if you dumped it out.
So we have extra empties that are part of our maintenance contract that they should be coming in anyway, right?
Usually the waste toner costs. It's like $15 for that.
For each
The
little
toner,
container?
Yeah. Unless they worked it in your deal. I didn't see what the deal was. But usually that costs, these are all part of the service contract. Like I said, you can dump it out, but you may only get it so many times, and if you don't have a spare and it's not accepting it, you're not going to print.
How often does that usually fill up?
It's not very often. It takes a pretty good time for it to fill up. You're going to have to do a lot of printing.
Okay.
And especially since you're not going to be doing a whole lot of color, it shouldn't be nearly as much.
Okay.
Okay. So, toners, waste toner. Other places where it might tell you to look for a jam. This is the bridge unit. When you don't have this, the paper would normally just come out like on this machine, just out, in one area. But because you have the finisher attached to it, the bridge unit transports the paper to the finisher. So that has to be closed. If it's like that, it's not going to work.
What does the finisher do? Why do we have that big thing there?
Well, that's a good question. The finisher has got a booklet folder on it. Does not have a hole punch, but it does have staple. It does have a stapler, so it does regular staple and it does the booklet folding staple.
So this will do booklet folding, and that's part of it all.
Yeah.
No, that's nice.
These are the staples that go in up here. And these are the staples for the booklet folder, and they are different sizes. This is a skinnier magazine, and like I said, there's 5,000 staples per plastic magazine. You do not throw this away when you replace the staples, because you'll be paying for that. But the little cartridges, it's kind of hard to see, but all right. So some more examples of if it tells you there's a jam in D6, you'll see the letter. It's got an arrow, so it shows you which direction it's going to go. Got rollers to tell you if it's behind a roller. You can roll until you can find it. Seems pretty rare to actually find a jam in this area.
Okay.
So, and
the majority of jams will be in here.
Yeah, the majority will be when you have are going to be in the copier. Let's see. Trays. You can see there's a line here. You don't want to fill. I'd prefer going just a hair underneath the fill line myself, but as long as you stay at that fill line or below, you're good. If you need to adjust paper, there's a lock here. Picture of unlocked. Squeeze, pull, adjust. Over here, this guy goes this way. And then make sure once it's tight, because I've been to a lot of places where people were complaining about jams, and I got there and saw it like that. So when it picks it up, these guides actually are guides. They help keep the paper straight as it goes through. Let's see. You could.
Seeing how tight you had that.
Yeah, I mean, you can have a little bit of slack. I just prefer personally like that. If you do have a jam back there, because it may say open up the tray to find a jam, and you may not see anything. You may see a piece of paper out like this. Oh, you got some weird paper. The paper has spots. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just so you know, that's not the copier. That's the paper.
Yeah.
You see them?
Yep.
Okay. The tray lifts out off these pins. If you need to get back there.
Oh, I would not have known that.
Yeah, because if you get a jam back there, there's sensors that this thing fits into to know whether it's loaded properly. If those sensors get knocked out of place because of a jam, I'll have to put it back in.
It just sits there then.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not used to put. Usually I'm like that, so it's a little awkward. But and they all work the same way. So I don't know how you want these individual trays set up, but as soon as you set them up, whether you're putting ledger or legal, the sensors will recognize it and should show it on the display panel. Pardon. When you're at this screen, it's set at auto, but when you press it, it'll tell you what they could be set up as. So, if you put ledger in there, it'll register and you should put it in there. You have your multi-purpose tray, which is right now a little hard to get to. This is where you're going to run cardstock, if you're going to run cardstock, envelopes, specialty paper, stuff you don't normally run through the trays because of being thick or something out of the norm. And
still recommended not to run construction paper through, correct?
Still recommended. No construction paper. Yeah.
That was my question.
I know.
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm waiting for a copier that we can do that with.
Yeah. I don't see that happening anytime soon. But let's see what else. Okay. The dock feeder. When you run, this is the auto dock feeder. When you run it through here. Okay, you got a dual-sided scanner, so it'll run through once and scan both front and back. There's a piece of glass here. It's called the slit glass. This one does the back. This one does the front. So if you run something through there that's clean and the copy comes out and has a line running across it, if it's on the front, look at this glass. Usually I set the paper down the way it went through the machine, and then I'll shine the light and see if I can see where that line lines up with a possible spot on the slit glass. And then They say clean it with a soft cloth. I don't know if you got one in here or not. Yeah, like this.
That's handy.
I personally, I still maybe use a little bit of water, maybe a little bit of Windex, but I only put it on the cloth and very, very lightly. You don't want to be spraying any liquids on the machine or spilling them, for that matter. Because I found whiteout very difficult to remove sometimes, or sometimes there's just some weird stuff there. Believe it or not, I've seen chocolate. Chocolate. Okay. The main glass. That's most of it. If you got anything else to think about.
So
How
we
do you
do.
switch from color to black and white?
Okay, if you're right here, you got the finishing, color selections right up here, layout. You can do almost everything from this screen here. So if you're at this screen, now unless you're locked out for some reason, color, and then you would choose auto color. You never use full color, because full color, I think it's called process black, it uses all the colors to create black. So you might, if you do something, print it out and it's mostly black and it has a green hue to it, it's because it's using all your color toners too to create black. So use auto color. And when I'm setting up those drivers on all the other PCs, I'm setting it at black and white right now, but you can go back in there and change it to auto color as you see fit. Just don't use full color.
Okay.
Okay. I think that's it, unless you have anything else that you need to.
My next question is, is this set as a default? Like if somebody comes through and messes with the color, once it like turns off and back on, can it automatically go back to black and white? Because
that's the way it's set right now.
it is. So like
Yeah,
when
common settings, it's set for black and white.
so as long as somebody doesn't come up too fast, it should be at black and white and one and
yeah.
one.
I
Okay.
mean, the only way around having somebody come up and use it would be to set up job accounting, which means a code for black and white, a code for color. That means every laptop where I'm putting drivers on is going to have a code set in there.
That's fine. As long as it doesn't like somehow get stuck on color and then it starts giving color because we're not paying for color copies.
Yeah,
it's
there's
just
a
a
short
once in a
period-
while.
Right. There's a short period of time it'll clear out, but once if you're doing it, you can always hit the reset button afterwards, and it'll automatically jump back to black and white.
Okay.
So if you came up here and printed something color and you were afraid somebody'd walk in right behind you,
Hit the reset
hit the
button
reset
first.
button.
And then where's the scanning button at?
Okay. So if you're going to scan, you're going to hit the send button.
The send button.
Yeah. And then once I have the email addresses set up, I'll have the shortcut keys in here, so you'll be able to click it and send it. That's going to take a little more time for me to get that set up, but
And then of course I would like to have all the teachers, I guess, can you set one email up while I record you? That way if another teacher wants their email in there.
sure. Yeah, it's simple as email address, type in your information.
And then
But
it
I'll show you once I get around to that.
and then it automatically just makes it one of those default
And then you
buttons.
can add to address book
Add to address book. Okay.
without doing it.
Got it.
It doesn't like that.
Okay.
But anyhow, yeah, it's once I get this set up, because this is going to be the address, the sending and receiving address. You're not going to be getting all the emails, but it's going to be using that unless you have a specific. Is it Gmail?
It is a Gmail account.
Gmail, okay.
I mean, if you want something more general, you could use office@zion-school.org if you wanted something more.
Is that an actual address?
It's an actual email address.
Okay. Well, I mean, I could always use that too. Because I probably have to get into the email account. I'm guessing less secured apps is set off, and in order to do scan to email, I have to turn that function on to allow it to scan to email.
Okay. Whatever is easiest for you. If you want to use Office or if you want to use mine, that's fine.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll see how I get it set up once I get to that. After I
Okay.
get the other ones installed,
Okay.
the drivers. I believe that's it. Like I said, the display panel will tell you where to go, open conveying door, Again, this is the conveying door. It should give you the letters. It's like A1 or D3 to look for the jam. And there might be an occasion where there isn't a jam. It could have been in a state. It might have been jammed and turned off at some point and then turned back on, and there's no jam anymore, but it still thinks there's a jam. You may have to turn it off and on again, or go through the process of opening all the doors.
Okay.
And what products are all included in the maintenance contract?
Well, the actual products that are included are only the toner. As far as I know, the toner is the only thing that's part of the service contract. Staples and waste toner are all extra.
And do we
Now,
have
if
an
you-
extra waste toner here?
I brought two. I put one in, and the other one's down
Excellent.
there on top of the
Excellent.
black toner. So.
Okay.
And what about color cartridges?
Color is also part of the service
Part of-
contract.
Okay.
I don't have them all with me because I delivered some across the street and somewhere else today.
And color is part of it, I assume, because we're still paying per copy every time we do a color. And we still pay per copy for black, but black is
Less.
is way less, 0.1 something %. So,
Any other?
anybody else? All right, I'm just happy that we got it, and when it breaks down, I can call you.
That's what I'm here for. Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Oh yeah. Also, now this previously, it was signed to have it on KFS, which is Kyocera Fleet Services, which lets us know at the office meter readings and toner level reports.
Uh-huh.
It'll tell us when there's jams.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I just assumed that it was still okay to put it on that because it doesn't take any personal information from you. And
That sounds good to
It
me.
was already signed for, so I've already got it running.
So then if we have a trouble, there's a possibility we could call you and be like, oh, it's because it says it's this, and then you could talk us through at least the first level.
Yeah, there's some things that I can actually do remotely, like run some tests and such, but I will see messages that come across if there's a problem. You may not even see. There may be something going on with the machine that you won't even see on the display, but I see it, so it's kind of a warning for me to look into.
Okay,
So,
sounds good.
but I've already got it running, so.